When I think about prioritization of features for customers, I really like to initially think of things in 4 levels. All right. So, what are the must-have features for the customer? Um, these are things that the customer's product absolutely will not have any value if they don't do this in some shape or form. So again, we've talked about breaking up stories. So this is the minimal implementation that you can think of for these features. That goes into the must-have, okay? Into the good to have are features or versions of features that are, oh, it would be really good to have this feature in there, or it would be really good if this feature was implemented this nicely, okay? Like this is sort of really where my expectation is, but it's not critical. So again, back to that example of CRUD. Yes, I can create and add something, and I can delete something. Well, that's a must-have. Okay, good to have is the ability to edit it and update it, absolutely. So, if we're really trying to pare things down. Now, admittedly, most clients are going to say to you, well, the ability to edit the data and update it, that's absolutely a must-have. But we're really, when we talk about prioritization, is we're really trying to sort of almost push everything that we can down further in this, in our setting expectations for the client and in our designs. We really want our must-have to be as small of a set of work so that we can truly understand what is the basics for getting something of value to the customer. Like if we get all the must-haves done, the customer will be happy. They will have something that's working software. We can then make them really happy with good to have. We don't want to screw up again and try to do too much such that we don't get it all done. So if we find ourselves working on lower priority things, when we still have must-have things done, we're not working properly. Our prioritization that we're going to deal with in this course is largely about making sure that we put our effort on things that will deliver value for the customer right away. So must have, good to have. Now nice to have is definitely stuff that you're just like, I heard the customer say this, it sounded cool. We think it would be really cool, but we know we definitely don't need it. And it's not even really a good to have. This is often, this is the icing on the cake. The cake's still going to taste good without the icing, but the icing makes it really, exciting and special. We don't, it's nice to have. And almost, I guarantee you, in MSci 342, if you can get the must-haves done, that is successful. And that's your goal, is to really define what is the must-haves and really be sure to get them done. Good to haves, knock off as many as you can. That's awesome. So you've got the must-haves and you add some feature richness and you make it a nicer product. That's fabulous. Getting to nice to haves doesn't usually ever happen in the real world. It doesn't ever happen certainly in this course. If you find yourself working on something that could have been a nice to have, you've wasted your time and you've taken away time that was available for the other stuff if that work was still needing to be done. Now, a category people often forget with prioritization is will not have, or we're not going to build it. And this is also really useful to communicate to clients. So these could be things you stick in the will not haves, like it's not going to work on a mobile device. Now, you might have already had a back and forth with the client about that, but this, you put it in some sort of document that you communicate to them. Maybe you do stick it somewhere. Oh, I put a bunch of stories off in the corner of my user story map and I wrote will not do. Like positively, like these are things that we talked about, but I want to be really clear. We're not going to make an Android or an iOS app. We're not going to concern ourselves maybe with other browsers other than Chrome. We're going to just stick with Chrome. Okay, so you often want to put things there to get them off your plate but to communicate as well, especially to the customer, because that might trigger things in them that make them go, ah, wait a minute. No, that's not a will not have. I demand that you do that. Oh, you do? Oh, well, otherwise we weren't going to build it. Oh, you really have to have that? All right. Then start to talk about where is it? Oh, you got to have it. Really, really, really? All right, it's a must-have. Oh, it would be good to have. It'd make you happy, but you don't have to have it. Okay, we'll stick it in the good to have. So again, this is often shows up in these sort of unspoken expectations. What you need to do as a trained engineer is to anticipate. Often customers forget about these things. They'll expect them, but we're not actually promising to work on that sort of stuff. We're not thinking about working on it. We're not going to deal with it, but we're going to have to tell the customer so that their expectations are properly set. And that can be really important.